The fact that you are alive to see this video is pure luck. It is entirely because 3 million years ago, a group of monsters chose the wrong evolutionary path. They were called saber-toothed tigers. Do you think the saber-toothed tiger was a tiger? Wrong. The genetic relationship between them and tigers is more distant than the relationship between you and a sewer rat. They completely split off from each other 20 million years ago. Calling it a saber-toothed tiger is as ridiculous as calling a rhino a unicorn. You think they relied on long teeth to bite and kill prey? Completely wrong. These monsters weighed 400 kilograms and had 2 17-centimeter fangs, yet they could only eat soft meat. They couldn't even bite through bone. Their bite force was actually weaker than a hyena's. Scientists have crunched the numbers. If the saber-toothed tiger hadn't gone extinct and had learned to hunt flexibly, humans might never have crawled out of the caves. What's even more terrifying is that in 2022, Chinese scientists discovered a new species in Yunnan called the Longshuan's Millis Xinzhonggensis. It was about the size of a leopard and specialized in hunting ancient apes. At the same site, they found thousands of ancient ape fossils. Your ancestors were swaying through trees 8 million years ago, thinking they had escaped the dangers on the ground. As it turns out, a group of professional hunters was waiting below. They treated human ancestors like snacks for millions of years. But the irony is, when the last saber-toothed tiger starved to death 10,000 years ago, humans had already built the city of Jericho in the Middle East. Those unarmed humans survived, while this apex predator with the ultimate weapons died out. Why? In November 2024, Russian scientists in the Siberian permafrost dug up a kitten mummy. The moment researchers put it into the CT scanner, everyone gasped in shock. This cub, only 3 weeks old when it died, had a neck as thick as an adult lion's. Its forelimb muscle density was twice that of a lion cub the same age. Even more incredible, this creature died 37,000 years ago, yet it was preserved as if it had just fallen asleep. The fur, claws, whiskers, even the carpal pads were clearly visible. This was the first time in human history that we saw the true appearance of a saber-toothed tiger, and the truth it revealed was more shocking than you can imagine. This king of the food chain had a bite force only 1/3 that of a lion. What does that mean? Even an angry jaguar could crush it in terms of bite strength. So how did it dominate the earth for 3 million years? The answer is hidden within this mummy. Scientists discovered that the saber-toothed tiger didn't kill by biting at all. Those 2 17-centimeter fangs weren't weapons. They were scalpels. When hunting, it would lie in wait in the bush, waiting for prey to approach. Then, like a professional wrestler, it would use its insanely powerful forelimbs to pin down a Hipparion, 3-toed horse. The prey would be pinned, unable to move, struggling even to breathe. Only then would the saber-toothed tiger open its mouth, which could gape up to 120 degrees. That angle is nearly twice that of a lion. Using the force of its powerful neck muscles, it would drive those 2 scalpels precisely into the prey's throat. Avoiding bone and cutting only soft tissue, the carotid artery would be severed in 3 seconds. The prey bled out instantly. This wasn't hunting. It was an execution. But there was one fatal flaw. Those 2 teeth were as brittle as glass. In 2004, scientists conducted an experiment using a saber-toothed tiger skull model to bite cow bone. On the 3rd bite, the fangs snapped right off. Once it lost its fangs, that saber-toothed tiger was essentially sentenced to death, left to slowly starve away. So every adult saber-toothed tiger was a master performing on the edge of a blade. They had to ensure the prey remained absolutely still the moment the strike was made. Even worse, the latest research published in 2024 found that saber-toothed tiger cubs developed extremely slowly. The weaning period was much longer than a lion's. and they took a long time to hunt independently. This meant parents had to spend more time caring for their young. When the environment changed drastically, the entire species couldn't adapt in time. Yet, despite being such seemingly fragile beasts, they actually had a social welfare system. At the La Brea tar pits in Los Angeles, scientists have excavated over 2,000 saber-toothed tiger fossils. Among them was one with a congenital hip dysplasia, making it lame from birth. It could never have hunted on its own, yet it somehow survived into adulthood. Several others showed signs of severe injuries, like broken legs, shattered ribs, and even skulls that had been bitten through. But all of those wounds had healed. What does this tell us? It shows that other saber-toothed tigers were supporting them, sharing food with them. These creatures, which look like cold-blooded killing machines, actually took care of their injured companions. Furthermore, in 2023, a team from the Chinese Academy of Sciences discovered on the Tibetan Plateau that the Amphimacaridus proves the social nature of saber-toothed tigers actually originated in China. An useless individual who couldn't even bite through bone relied on the warmth of its family to survive and dominate the earth for 3 million years. Does this contrast feel a bit surreal to you? However, no wave rises without eventually falling. About 10,000 years ago, the Earth's climate began to change drastically. Glaciers melted, and forests turned into grasslands. The prey facing the saber-toothed tigers changed completely. The massive, slow-moving mammoths, ground sloths, and ancient bison went extinct one by one. Only small, agile animals remained: deer, antelopes, and rabbits. That's when the problem arose. Can you imagine me as a small antelope? The saber-toothed tiger's thick forelimbs, evolved for wrestling, became clumsy and heavy when chasing agile prey. Its long teeth, designed to sever major arteries, had nowhere to strike on the slender necks of small animals. Due to its delicate mouth adapted only for salt meat, it couldn't even crush or gnaw on bones. Meanwhile, those low-level players it once looked down upon, wolves, cougars, and coyotes, because they would eat anything and chase anything, were not picky eaters and had versatile teeth. Instead, they thrived during this catastrophe. Returning to the initial question, why did unarmed humans survive, while the overlord with 17 cm fangs vanished? The answer is because humans eat anything and can adapt to anything. If we can't find meat, we eat fruit. If there's no fruit, we eat roots. If there are no roots, we eat insects. But the saber-toothed tiger only knew how to do one thing: kill large animals. When they could no longer do that, they died. This is the dark humor of evolution. Specialization brings peak dominance, but it also means narrowing your path. Furthermore, the saber-tooth design was independently invented by nature at least 5 times. Scientists call this convergent evolution. From the Gorgonopsia 250 million years ago to the marsupial Thylacolores and the Nimravidae family, these completely unrelated species, at different times and places, coincidentally evolved the same weapon. Nature is like an obsessive blacksmith, forging this peerless blade over and over again, to hand it to different assassins. But every time, the outcome for this blade was the same. When the environment changed drastically, the blade snapped and the tiger fell. When the last saber-toothed tiger died, humans had already built Jericho in the Middle East, the world's first city, which had already flourished for many years. We could have seen them with our own eyes, but instead, we only see their skeletons in museums. Those skeletons with jaws agape at 120 degrees seem to be silently saying, strength never equals eternity, and perfection often means fragility. The saber-toothed tiger used 3 million years of glory and its extinction 10,000 years ago to teach a lesson to all life. In the long river of evolution, there is no such thing as the strongest creature, only survival of the adaptable, relying too much on a single advantage. is often the prelude to tomorrow's extinction. Today, giant pandas eat only bamboo, and koalas eat only eucalyptus leaves. When these foods disappear, will they become the next saber-toothed tigers? While we humans, with fire, tools, and our brains, have won this evolutionary gamble. But when the environment undergoes another massive shift, will we be able to survive again? The saber-toothed tiger's pair of fangs did not ultimately pierce the throat of an enemy, but instead pierced its own future. This story is not just about extinction. It is even more about choice. Why are you afraid of walking alone at night? Scientists studied this for 30 years and reached a bone-chilling conclusion. It is not a psychological issue. It is genetic memory. 66 million years ago, the dinosaurs had just gone extinct. But your ancestors' lives were more desperate than facing dinosaurs. On land, there were 2-meter-tall killer birds, able to pierce a skull with a single claw. In the water, there were giant pythons over 10 meters long, capable of swallowing whole prey in one gulp. In the sky, a giant bird with a 6-meter wingspan glided over the earth, like a silent grim reaper. As for your ancestors, they were the smallest and most fragile beings of that era, liable to be eaten in a single bite at any moment. The only reason they could survive was that they were better at hiding than any other animal. And that extreme fear they felt while evading danger was carved into their genes, passed down all the way to today. Every time you feel uneasy walking at night, it's not because you are cowardly. It is your ancestors reminding you, be careful, there is something in the dark. So, what exactly were those things that our ancestors feared? Today, in episode 13 of Earth's General History, I will take you back to the Paleogene period to see who the rulers of that time really were. Time returns to 66 million years ago. An asteroid over 10 kilometers in diameter struck the Earth. The dust kicked up shielded the sun, causing global temperatures to plummet. The food chain began to collapse from the bottom up. Avian dinosaurs vanished from that point on. Pterosaurs disappeared, and giant marine reptiles disappeared. 76% of the species on Earth vanished entirely within a very short geological time frame. After this disaster, the Earth fell silent. But silence is never the end. Right within the ruins, a group of animals survived. Nocturnal, insect-eating, hiding underground and among tree roots. They were our ancestors' early mammals. They waited for a very, very long time, and then the great curtain of life opened once again. The first epoch of the Paleogene is called the Paleocene. At this time, mammals hadn't yet had the chance to grow large, but reptiles seized the opportunity. Among them was a fellow that makes one's legs go weak at a single glance. It is called Titanoboa. The name Titanoboa means a Titan-level giant python. Based on fossils discovered in Colombia in 2008, scientists reconstructed its true physical size. Its body length was about 13 meters. Weight was approximately 1,135 kilograms, and the thickest part of its waist exceeded 1 meter. For context, the largest python today, the reticulated python, reaches a limit of only 7 or 8 meters and weighs over 100 kilograms. Titanoboa was nearly twice as thick, nearly twice as long, and reached over 10 times its weight. How did it grow so large? Scientific research revealed an astonishing logic. Earth during the Paleocene was extremely warm. Average annual temperatures in equatorial regions may have approached 33 degrees Celsius. Reptiles are ectotherms, cold-blooded animals. The higher the air temperature, the faster the metabolism. The more energy intake, the larger the body size can become. Titanoboa was essentially a product of high-temperature climates. It fed on giant crocodiles and large fish, making it the undisputed top predator in the water at that time. Interestingly, the existence of Titanoboa itself is a thermometer. Its body size tells scientists that the tropics of the Paleocene were even hotter than today's Amazon. This is not just a fossil. It is a climate archive written in bone. Time moves forward to the Eocene, roughly 48 million to 35 million years ago. At this time, mammals had already begun to rise, but the ecosystem was not yet fully stable. In present-day inland Mongolia, a kind of monster roamed between the grasslands and forests. It is called Androsarchus. In 1923, American explorer Roy Chapman Andrews conducted a scientific expedition in Mongolia. A massive skull fossil was discovered. The skull is 83 centimeters long and nearly 50 centimeters wide. Among terrestrial carnivorous mammals, this is one of the largest skulls ever discovered by humans. Now here's the problem. So far, scientists have only found this one complete skull. Based on this single skull alone, we cannot fully reconstruct the entire body of Androsarchus. But based on skull proportions, its size might have been close to that of a rhinoceros, with a body length exceeding 5 meters and an estimated weight of over a ton. It possessed an incredibly powerful bite force. Its teeth were thick and blunt, capable of crushing bones directly. What was it, and which group did it belong to? The scientific community is still debating this today. This is the charm of the Paleogene. The monsters of this era are not even fully understood by scientists themselves. Androsarchus is like an unsolved riddle. That solitary skull lies silently in a museum, waiting for an answer. Speaking of the Paleogene, there is one animal you absolutely cannot skip. It's called the Forusricidae. Literally translated, it means terror bird. Terror birds were flightless, giant carnivorous birds. They could reach heights of up to 3 meters and weigh over 150 kilograms. Their running speed is estimated to reach 70 to 80 kilometers per hour, more than twice as fast as today's Olympic sprinting champions. They were mainly active in South America, spanning from over 60 million years ago until about 1 million years ago. Note that birds are the direct descendants of dinosaurs. Terror birds use their claws to hunt mammals and use their massive hooked beaks to crush prey's skulls. In a sense, the terror bird was the dinosaurs' final counterattack in the age of mammals. Their hunting style was extremely violent. First, they chased prey at high speeds, then struck fiercely with their beaks, or picked up the prey and slammed it directly onto the ground. This fighting style terrified the mammals of South America at the time. There is a theory that I find bone-chilling. Scientists discovered that the timing of the terror bird's mass extinction coincided perfectly with the time South America became connected to North America via the Isthmus of Panama. Large felines and canines from North America migrated south, squeezing the ecological niche of the terror birds, eventually leading to their extinction. The end of an era is often not because it wasn't strong enough, but because the world changed. While the terror bird dominated the land, the skies of the Paleogene were also home to formidable creatures. It's called the Pelagornis. With a wingspan exceeding 6 meters, it is one of the largest known flying birds. The most bizarre part was its beak. The edges of the beak were lined with serrated protrusions. From a distance, it looked like a mouthful of sharp teeth. But these weren't real teeth. They were false teeth grown from bone, specifically used to grip slippery fish and squid, making it impossible for prey to escape. They almost never flapped their wings, relying only on ocean air currents to glide. They could fly thousands of kilometers without landing. A 6-meter giant bird with a mouth of false teeth, gliding silently just above the sea surface. Sometimes, horror doesn't lie in violence, but in that omnipresent silence. The Paleogene spanned from 66 million to 23 million years ago, covering 43 million years. Titanobul lurked silently in the water. The terror bird hunted at high speeds on the grasslands, and Pelagornis glided over the seas. Androsarchus vanished into the depths of time with its mysterious skull. All this happened after the extinction of the dinosaurs. The extinction of dinosaurs was not a tragedy for life, but a yielding of life. Through their disappearance, they vacated the entire Earth, leaving the stage for those tiny, furry things hidden underground. And those tiny things eventually evolved into you watching this video today. Life does not end because of a disaster. It simply finds a new way to start over. In the next episode, we'll talk about how whales evolved from four-legged land animals into the heaviest giants in Earth's history. I am the science creator. Looking forward to our next meeting.